Right after the Meet the Stars thing, we stayed in there. There was like a 15-minute break, and then the creators and directors came on. I was so shocked about what had just happened to me that I didn't pay attention as much as I wanted to. But they did have some cool stuff. Like they brought one of the kindness characters on stage from The Girl Who Waited, and they showed us how exactly the walking worked and how exactly the person could see behind the mask. Actually, there's really tiny pinholes, and they did some demonstrations with that. That ends, and then we go ahead straight from there to the special effects studio. And the special effects studio was really cool. I've got long footage from it, and maybe I'll try and upload that to YouTube as well. And it's not very good quality, but I'll try and upload it. So I was gonna go to the prosthetics demonstration instead, but Daniel, he pointed out in our pamphlet, it's like the description of it. It said like there's gonna be live explosions and live guests, and so I was like, okay, I'm game. So we choose to go there, and we're sitting down, and then at the beginning of it, there's this giant boom, like and something like I think it's rocket or something. It comes across the stage and it like explodes. But actually, what it was a Dalek firing its laser, and it was demonstrating how they use the effect of the explosives to make that look realistic. It's seriously, I almost shat my pants. It scared me. But Danny, the special effects guy, who's been on Doctor Who special effects since the first season with Rose, he comes on stage and he starts talking to us about like special effects and how to be safe about it and different stories and stuff. And he tells us really cool stories about like how Matt Smith apparently really is afraid of like pyrotechnics and stuff like that. And he does demonstrations. This is the part where Daniel got lucky. Daniel got to go up on stage and in a scenario where he got to pretend to be the Doctor with a giant ass gun, and a Cyberman comes on stage. And so he's got an aim to the Cybermen, and then he has this little girl from the audience come up and press a button to show how they do the special effects. And there's like explosives wired to the Cybermen, so it looks like you're shooting him, but really you're detonating the explosives that are attached to him. So that was really cool. He has like fog machines that come out, and he talks about how he used those in like this Christmas Carol episode. He spent a lot of time answering fan questions. So, and I got chosen for that, which was so awesome. So I asked like, what was the biggest explosion you've ever done? How much did you use to make it happen? So he answered that one. It was a Torchwood episode, which I wasn't familiar with, but it did sound pretty cool. So that was really cool that I got to ask him a question too. Then we were listening to other people asking questions, and another one that was kind of funny was like, have any of your explosions gone wrong? And there's this cute little kid, he's like, have any of your explosions gone wrong? He talks about how like the Christmas Carol episode, the giant fireball that comes out before Matt Smith comes out of the fireplace wasn't supposed to happen. But the producers, they thought that looked really cool, so they left it in. And like I learned so much. I'm filming it, everything as he's saying it. And it's really funny because he says, have you ever hurt anyone? He's like, well, one time during Planet of the Ood, I accidentally singed David Tennant's hair. And you hear me go, no, you didn't. That man has perfect hair. You do not touch. But he talks about that, and he talks about how they do the fake snow, and it's all actually paper. And if you accidentally light the paper on fire, it just leaves this black mark, and you have to then reapply all the fake paper snow. There's even a demonstration where snow came down from the top, and unfortunately someone came on stage and was like, you can only answer one more question. And he actually looked honestly, sincerely sad. Someone asked a question, and then a Dalek comes on stage, and he invites everyone down to take pictures with it. Then he says, if you want any more questions answered, I'll be over here. So Daniel and I are like, let's hit up the Dalek. We go down there. We're next to the Dalek, and we get some really cool pictures with it. We see a bunch of people like having their signed stuff by him, and then getting pictures with him. And then Daniel and I were like, well, we gotta do that. Then the woman's like, only 2 more people can be signed, so Daniel and I step up, and it's us, and I feel really bad, but at the same time, I kind of don't. Well, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He signs my stuff, and I get a picture with him, and after our words, I looked at the picture, and I was like, damn, he's pretty fine. So, and that's his signature. Lots of love, Danny, and then SFX for special effects. Legit. So after that, we had an hour to kill until it was time to get autographs. So Daniel, his mom, and myself, we all went outside, and we just kind of had some lunch. So, and we just kind of got hyped up for what's happening next. Daniel had been scheduled for the autograph, but he did not schedule for a photograph. So him and his mom were checking out some tours to the set. They were free, actually. You could go take a tour of the TARDIS, the actual filming location of the current TARDIS at the BBC studio. So that was something that they were checking out. And I was a little jealous because I want to do that too. But I did have a photograph with the other Darvel, and I was like, that's awesome. So I shouldn't be jealous. We ate some lunch, and we came back inside. And I also thought it was so cool because I didn't realize that the Wales Millennium Center had been used to film two episodes. Like, The Girl Who Waited was filmed there, so I got some pictures of those corridors. And, like, New Earth was filmed there, and I didn't even realize that. So that was even extra cool. It was time to go get our autographs. So I went upstairs with Daniel, and we're all just really excited. And we get there, and I'm so nervous. Like, I'm stuttering. I'm not making sense when they're telling me where to go. I'm like, where? And I keep telling myself these are normal people. Normal people. Telling yourself one thing and doing and acting another way is like really hard. I just couldn't get over it. The only other famous person I've ever met before is the Fray. This is bigger to me than the Fray was because this is something that I enjoy more. So I get up there and then they're like, well, whose autograph are you getting? And I had thought to myself before coming to the convention, because I was so bummed that Matt Smith had been sold out, and I was like, I'm gonna tell a little fib when I get to the convention. I decided that if the opportunity came, I was going to tell people that I had flown all the way from Denver, Colorado just to go to this convention. They didn't need to know I was studying abroad. They would take pity on me and be like, this woman came all the way from America. She deserves to meet Matt Smith. So I was going to pull that card if the opportunity came up. But at this moment, I was too nervous to do that. So he's like, okay, who are you getting an autograph from? And there's certain lines for people who are getting 2 autographs versus if you're just getting 1. There was a Karen Gilliam line, a Matt Smith line, and an Arthur Darvill line. And I'm standing in the Arthur Darvill line and I'm seeing people not checking your name off at all. There's no way of them knowing that that was who you paid to see. So I was like, oh, what if I go in the Matt Smith line and then they don't check it? And then I could have just met both of them. If you gave me the opportunity to meet Matt Smith over Arthur Darvill, I'd probably pick Matt Smith. But I still was super psyched to meet Arthur. So I was just kind of talking to people around me about how nervous I was, and they wanted to know kind of how I got there because I was American, and I was letting them know about my plan to fib, and they were just kind of laughing and like, that's smart. And as we got closer, there was someone checking names, so I was like, okay, that's good. I made this decision that I'm here. I'm so nervous at this point. I keep asking people around me, I'm like, am I red? They come down the line giving us post-it notes of what we're going to write down for them to sign off on our sheets because it'll be easier for them so we don't have to tell them. So I get handed a script for the Christmas episode that just happened. And if you didn't have anything for them to sign, you could have them sign the script. So, and you can have them sign up to 2 things. I had decided earlier that I was going to have Arthur Darvill sign some things for my sorority sister Monica, who introduced me to this, because she deserves this, because she's the reason why I got into this in the first place. So I was like, okay, I gotta have something signed for Monica. So I write one for Monica that says, Monica, the Lone Centurion loves you, because that's Arthur Darvill's character. And for me, I was just gonna say whatever you want. Because, I mean, I didn't really care. I was meeting him, and I was going to get a picture with him later, so I was like, it's fine. So I get up to the front of the line, and as we're getting closer and closer, I can see, like, people holding up their cameras, and people are, like, taking pictures, like, trying to go over people, and I get a few ones of, like, Karen Gilliam's head or Matt Smith's head or things like that, and they're all down trying to sign things, so I didn't really get any good pics, but, so I get up there, and I'm, like, next, and I'm like, okay, this is it. Have your stuff ready. And so he just kind of, like, he's done signing, someone goes, and the lady's like, okay, your turn. I get up there, and I'm like, hi, okay, so if you could just sign 2 things. He's like, yeah, totally. I was like, this one's for my sorority sister Monica, and he goes ahead, he says, okay, Monica, and he just signs that one, and I said, and this one's for me, just say whatever you want, and he signed that one, and I was like, it's lovely to meet you, and he's like, you too, and then I left, and while I was standing there, though, while he was signing, I snagged a quick pic sideways of, like, Matt and Karen to be like, yeah, they're right here, so that was really fun, so, and then I left, and I was like, whew, calm down, like, everything's okay. And so I was leaving, and I read what he said. He just said, like, Lexi, stay cool. Stay tuned for part 3.